well. Hello, everyone, and welcome down to episode 92 of the Down South Photo Show with me, Brendan Waits, here in Ocean Grove, Victoria, Australia, and the guy, welcome back on the other screen or in your other ear if you're listening to the show. It is Cam Blake in Hobart, Tasmania, Australia. Hello, Cameron.
Hello, Brendan, and thanks for listening. That's the show this week.
Okay, that was almost as short as the one I put out on the audio channels last week. Thanks to the
brilliant
subscriber who picked me up on that, by the way, because I actually didn't know that happened.
Yes, I know. Imagine that. Imagine if we just wandered through life thinking that a 1 second episode was going to make any difference.
Well, coincidentally, I'd called the episode the Quickie because it was literally just a filler while you were away. I didn't mean it to be 1 second long, though.
That was good. So thank you for the subscriber who picked
for those
that
of you
up,
who don't know what we're talking about, I posted the YouTube clip and it came up no problem, but then when I posted it to the audio channel, it lasted for 1 second and it was literally me going and that was it. So
what happened there? I don't know, just didn't upload properly.
I have no idea. Just a gremlin in the system, Cameron.
Right. Okay.
They come up. It's one of my pet hates with my shop. So look, I run a Windows-based operation.
Yeah, I told you about this.
Is that where I'm going wrong? And so I've got like, I don't know, 6 or 7 networked PCs there, and anyway, long story short, I'll do nothing, like literally nothing, and something just drops out, like part of the network collapses or something just disappears, and then I'm looking at IP addresses and I'm looking at the network, and it just does my head in. And sometimes it can take like 2 hours to solve the problem. And but I've done nothing for that to happen. That really,
you know how to fix it. You just turn everything on and off again, off and on again.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
That's
just reboot.
That's
everything.
Tech Talk 101. Yeah,
that's right. Except that doesn't work. So anyway.
No. But I'm good, mate. Thank you for having me back on for another show. I'm really excited to be here, and it's been a good. What are we? You just said we haven't recorded since like almost 2 weeks ago.
We had a week off. It is now spring. Welcome to spring, everyone.
Yes. How good is it?
It is good. I guess it's just, but everyone says the same things. Like, where is this year going?
Yeah.
Where is this year going? It's September, Cameron.
It's going down the toilet real quick, I reckon. It's
super fast.
Yeah. You know what happens in spring though? It's like, it's funny. Like the first day of winter, everyone, first day of winter, and it's usually like sunny and 15 degrees.
Yeah.
And then the first day of spring is usually crap.
Yes.
It's usually, thank God spring's here. Oh, it's 12 degrees, sideways rain and wind.
Humans are funny, aren't they? They see the calendar turn over and just expect Mother Nature's just going to change as well.
Mother Nature goes, oh shit. Oh, hang on. Oh, yeah, hang on. Spring, sunshine.
Yeah, that's right.
We've had spring. We've had spring down here for, I reckon, about almost a month. I reckon it's been spring-like down here.
Yeah, so it wasn't the coldest winter ever here in southeastern Australia. That's for sure.
That's for sure. So welcome to spring, everyone. It's going to be good. Tomorrow's temperature Saturday's weekend temperature in Melbourne looks pretty good. 20 degrees on Sunday.
Goodness me. I will be up in the Mallee, so we should probably be even warmer.
You know what the AFL should do? Just have a bye. Like,
maybe they will.
Why would anyone want to play football at 20 degrees in sunshine?
When it's and to guarantee the first week of finals will be pouring rain and
most likely.
We're
not a footy show.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
Definitely not. So the August photo comp has finished. So thank you for everyone who has entered. Over 60 entries. Give it up. That's awesome. Very, very impressed.
There's no good ones, but they're all there.
Well, there's 60 entries. It was the same person entered 60 times.
I noticed a friend of ours entered late today.
Oh, very good.
Yes, Mr. Glyn Lavender chucked an entry in, so automatic disqualification.
Hello, Mr. Lavender. He clearly listens to the show. He makes out like he's too cool for school and doesn't listen to the Down South Photo Show. But
he came on here once, reckons he owned it and walked off.
Yeah, exactly. Pretended that he didn't know the name of the show.
That's right. Exactly. I know. And then, if anyone had a spring name, that'd be him.
Well, absolutely. Hello, Mr. Lavender.
Yeah.
See you in Bright.
Oh, yeah. Have you? Oh, what kind of collection of people are they bringing into BFOP this year?
Well, me for one, as a pure visitor, but it's eclectic.
That's a word that wouldn't probably pop up too often with this group. So we've got Glenn, we've got you, we've got
Mm,
me.
mm,
5-star Dan's decided that he's coming up for a geezer.
goodness me.
What could possibly go wrong? So
It's
anyone
good.
who's listening is coming to
Yeah.
BFOP. I would start getting a little bit fitter beforehand in the
Yes.
drinking department because I think it's going to
Yes.
be a bit of a rowdy, not just with us. I think it's just going to be a rowdy BFOP. They're usually pretty out there, but this year seems to be building up to be a bit of a wild one.
Okay. And,
But
why not? Why wouldn't it be? I like it. I like the sound of it
yes,
already. Cameron, you've been into one of Australia's most magnificent areas over the last week.
what within 5 meters of Tom Putt? No.
Referenced by your background.
Oh yeah. Would
Uh,
you? Oh, is that a segue?
I was trying.
All right, I
You
stuffed
had a
that up,
week
didn't I?
off. You're out of form.
I had a week off. I had a week off. I went to Flinders Island for a bit of a man down. I
Yep.
may have called you at some stage.
Can you remember?
Well, apparently we ate. Apparently we ate dinner that night, and I don't remember that.
Well, there you
Um,
go. Okay.
you know me pretty well. Was I in good form? I can't
You
really. I
were.
don't think I was
No,
that
it was
bad.
great. It was hilarious.
Okay.
No,
Radio.
there's nothing better than a room full of drunken people FaceTime you when you're stone sober and trying to get shit done. It was brilliant. No, I loved it.
All right. So our timing was impeccable. All right, let's get on to the backgrounds before we incriminate someone.
Yes.
So yes, I've just come back from a lovely little 5-day trip up to the Tarkine. This is taken on our third or fourth morning. It was a bit of a foggy, wet night, and we woke up to this in the morning. It was just stunning, and then the sunlight came through and just lit up those rays in the forest, and it was really like shooting fish in a barrel from this lookout where we were. Everyone got shots practically identical to that, which is great, which is what it's all about, making sure people get the shots they want. But yeah, it was really a really good time. We had a great group of people, probably one of the better groups I've had in a long time, where things just went into the gutter straight away. Like from the get-go, from the first 5 minutes in the car, we knew exactly what kind of group we had, and it was good. So hello to everyone that came along. So yeah, I've been up there and had a great time. We got back yesterday, had a bit of a day off today, and
That
caught
is
up on a few things.
epic light you've got going on there
It's
behind
nuts. It was nuts.
you. How good is that?
And I haven't really done. All I've done is add a little bit of contrast to that. What worked really well on this shot, which we all picked up, was the foreground was getting lit up with sunshine, so you get that nice sort of warm color temperature. But the background was still in the shade, so you still had that cooler color temperature. So
It's so
there's actually,
good. It's really cool. You got the layers. You've got everything. So
yeah.
sensational.
And the background up where the back around the tree here, there's actually a bit more height to this shot. This is trimmed down because of good old Zoom and social media, but there was actually a lot more sort of, you can sort of follow it around the corner. But yeah, we're pretty happy when we saw this. And as you do when you run workshops, Brendan, you're sort of thinking, oh, I've got to get people in the right spot at the right time. And I took a little, I wouldn't say I took a gamble, but I took a little bit of a punt to get to this lookout at the right time. I thought it could be a fair bit of fog around this morning. This is a good spot for fog. And then we hit the jackpot. I'm like,
Dividends.
So
Absolute dividends. That's great.
it's amazing how the stress drops off when you sort of nail a shot and you go, yeah.
When you're doing question without notice, when you're doing a workshop and you get a photo like that, are you keen to show people the image?
No, I don't want to show anyone. I walk away from the group and go do my own stuff down the road. And no,
I know that's not true.
If we if we get a shot like this, or I wouldn't even say a shot, like I was shooting, but I was probably one of the last ones to sort of really get clicking into what was going on. So, but if I see something, then it's like, hey guys, you need to point down here, get your long telephoto lenses on. You need to shoot like this. You need to make sure. So the instructions on here were get right into the forest, get that landscape within landscape, and don't blow out the highlights of the fog. That was the two instructions. So what's your exposure, and make sure you don't blow out any of these sort of hotter parts of the fog, because you'll just get blotches of white on your shot. So that was pretty much the advice we got. And then this is probably about 10% of the whole scene we could see. So with the longer lenses, you could move around everywhere.
Yeah.
And the light was changing around, like there was different rays
I could
coming
just
through.
See, like you're spending ages,
Yeah.
isolating just even individual trees behind you there. Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we did that. So it was a lovely moment. And like I said, I don't think anyone shot under 200 mil for this sunrise. So everyone was shooting at 200 mil or more,
Awesome.
right down into the forest and just filling those frames up with awesomeness. So
Yeah.
it was good.
Well, speaking of, I'll just cover up my background here and whoops, hang on. And go. So what you're looking at there, that was if anyone did bother to look at episode 91.5, I had another shot with the big sort of what do you call it? Container ship coming in through the heads. Well, this was the pilot boat that actually came in just before it to literally guide it through the heads. And there was some fantastic swell going on. So what I've sort of over the last 12 months, what I've started doing a lot now is basically just using 2 lenses when I go on a shoot, and it's ultra wide and massive zoom. And rarely do I need that middle ground. I don't know. It just sort of suits my eye, my mood at the moment. That's sort of what I'm shooting. But here, I mean, the distance from the wave to the boat is probably about 200 meters. And that's what lens compression can do for you at big zoom. That wave looks, for all intent and purposes, like it's right on top of the boat, but there's a big gap there. And the waves were rolling in at such a rate that it was great. I just had to wait for that wave to add that extra foreground element. So in grand total, I'm probably, I want to say 800 meters from that boat. And then that wave's 200 meters closer to that. And then I'm 600 meters from the wave. So that's what we're talking about here, being able to zoom in that far with these kind of lenses. So I really enjoyed shooting that night. I think I messaged you while I was there and just told you like it was really happening. The other thing that's really cool, I'll just really quickly say, is the amount of detail in the actual white water of that wave in the foreground. It's
got
kind
some
of
really nice light
layered up as well because of the low light.
Yeah, that's cool. And I didn't for some reason when I moved to Tassie, I didn't know anything about pilot boats. I had no idea about boats using a pilot boat to go in and out, but it's amazing what they do. And they're pretty cool to shoot because they're pretty out there. They get into the wild conditions to help these ships come in. So
yeah, look, I don't know any of the stats on their engine sizes and stuff like this, but by geez, they get going.
They do, yeah. And the pilot themselves or the boat driver must be pretty good because, like I said, they'll go out and guide ships in all types of weather and stuff like that. So
I think I seem to recall someone was telling me that the actual cabin part in here can move independently of the rest of the boat to keep them level. To a certain extent, like they've got a further 10 degrees of stabilization because they need to be able to see the big ships and see the path that they take.
Yeah, right. We have a friend of the show who does a lot of work with that kind of industry, Cheryl, who I'm doing some macro workshops with next year. She works for a tugboat company in WA. Yeah, so she goes out in the tug sometimes and helps them bring the boats in. So
well, that makes sense because she was one of the first people to comment when I put this up on Facebook, this photo. She said, I love this shot.
Yeah, she's a bit of a boat nut, I think.
She's a boat nut.
Without I don't know if it's a nice thing to say about someone, but I just said it. Sorry, Cheryl.
If you happen to be listening to the show and want to see our photos, one of them will go up as photo of the week on the Facebook on the website. How about that?
Oh yeah, I haven't updated that in the last few weeks. Sorry
That's all right. How about you put your Tarkine one up there, and that'll be on dsps.com.au.
Oh, you are getting so good at these plugs. Funny you mentioned about wide angle and 2 cameras and lenses.
Yep.
I'm finding myself doing a similar sort of thing these days. Is that I want to have that new nice big lens of mine ready to go, but I also want to have some wide angle stuff going. So like you said, you can sort of get those beautiful scenes with a bit more detail and foreground and midground and stuff like that. So it's a bit like that. And I had a customer today who's coming on the Flinders with me, and she was asking about lenses, and I said, "What have you got?" She goes, "I've got a 100 to 500 and a 24 to 105." I said, "Just bring them 2 lenses. That's all you need. We'll cover the rest. You can do wide angle. You can get right into it." So, again, I think we've said it a million times on this show. Telephotos for landscapes, you cannot write them off. You need to take them out with you.
I think they're it and a bit. I'm a huge fan.
Well, if you were standing on that, I know where you've taken it from. You take that with a wide angle lens, that becomes not even a shot. What you've got there,
no, you wouldn't be.
You can't get it.
There'll be a yellow speck, orange speck, that pilot boat.
Yeah, that's right. So I think people need to be a bit more bold, I guess, and actually get into their scenes a bit more. Even with your wide angle lenses, I find people just stand way back from where they need to be. Like, don't be afraid to, as long as you're not throwing a shadow or something like that, don't be afraid to get right over your subject and really bring that foreground to life a bit. So there's a little bit of a tip. Don't stand back too far. Get in there and enjoy it.
Yeah, so I've got to the point now where I'm shooting. So I've got my OM5 and I've got my EM1X. I'm actually kind of fallen for the EM1X. When I first got it, and you know why I got it, because they were basically giving away the 100 to 400 lens at the time when you bought the EM1X. Yes. I think you did exactly the same thing. My intention was just to sell it. Or I was like, I'll just get it, keep the lens, sell the body, whatever. I started using it and I kind of like it. I think I like it because it's a lot of camera. And I've got the stupid big man hands. So it's a lot to hold. Was it OM5 serves a purpose for hiking and that sort of stuff, but it's a small little thing. The EM1X, I don't know, just gives me an extra bit of confidence when I'm shooting with that thing. I like holding it. I like putting it up to my eye. I like it's fast, like it's faster focus. The screen's really active and on point. I do like that camera.
It's funny you say that as well, because I find that the OM1 I've got is good, but it is just a little bit smaller, especially with the bigger lens on it. So if they could make them like those EM1Xs are fairly light, but they are still pretty chunky.
They are.
But I reckon if they could somehow find that weight to build a great camera that's still light but has a bit more oomph to it, I think I'd be interested in that. That's something that's a bit bigger in your hand.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Where even if they like a grip, I mean, can you get a grip for the OM1 or?
Well, you can, but even like just an empty grip. So
that's what I was going to say, because your grip holds 2 batteries, right? So
so you just run a OM1 with no battery. Could be
you just invented something, Cameron. Well, let's release the Down South Photo Show batteryless
dummy
series.
We'll call it the dummy grip.
Well, that rings true for us too. A couple of dummies.
Dummies with not much grip.
Well, I think you've raised a good point. If you agree, hit the like thing down below and give us a comment.
Do you want dummy grips? Then let us know.
Yeah, it's funny. It's because it's always that paradox, isn't it? Where great, this has got a lot of it's more camera, but by Jesus, it's heavy.
So, that's the thing. Yeah. Well, like maybe you could make one like out of a 3D printer or something.
What about an inflatable one?
I don't know. It's like a foam. What about just a fake foam one?
A foam one. Yeah, that's a good idea. What a Kevlar carbon fiber grip.
Well, you remember when you used to go to the camera shows, and they'd have all the cameras on display, and you pick them up, and they're just a shell of the body. Yeah. Why can't they do that with grips?
Like this lens here. This is a fake L
series
Canon lens, which is actually a coffee cup. So it's got nothing here.
There you go. A battery grip that doubles up as a coffee cup.
Speaking of junkets, those camera show things that I used to go on with Camera House. Oh my God. Those were the days. I don't know how I survived a couple of them, to be honest.
Those are the days when people had budgets
to throw around on people like us, the hardworking salespeople. We've got a topic tonight. Let's move into our topic. I saw this comment on social media. It was actually on the Micro Four Thirds Facebook group. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar,
I haven't been on that group for years.
Yeah, I just saw it come up, and it was, I don't know, it sort of piqued my interest because I think it speaks to the way a lot of people think about modern day photography. Mm-hmm. Let me put this another way. I think it speaks a lot to the way more mature people might think about modern day photography. People in their 40s and 50s might think about photography these days.
Is that older? Be careful there, Brendan.
Well, more mature. I mean, if you're in your 40s, like,
look at us. We're not mature.
You're in your 40s.
Well, I'm in 40, that's right.
I just think with photography over time, like anything, of course, like anything, you learn so much and you apply different things, and you sort of develop your own beliefs and the way things should be done and things like that. Anyway, let me just read this to you. It's a bit long-winded, but bear with me. And then we're going to sort of unpack it. We're going to unpack it a little bit. So this was, so I'm sorry, I should probably accredit it to the person who wrote it there. I don't even think they put their name to it, to be honest. I think it was some weird, at 789olympus.org or something.
I know him.
Yeah. They say, as a photographer for 53 years, I know that we all have preferences for how an image looks, but I see a fair amount of, in quotation marks, too sharp, unrealistic colors, too pastel-y, too close, too wide, too grainy, etc. Science tells us. So basically what he's saying is people are commenting that this image is too sharp, it's unrealistic colors, it's got too, so the comments that images are getting, that's what people are saying. He says science tells us that we don't all see the same color intensity, the same sharpness, the same shadow detail. Now add in the differences produced by multiple lens brands, multiple camera brands, different camera settings, additional filters, etc. Is there one standard for the color? The sharpness, the grain, the highlights, or the shadow detail? What about photos from the past decades? Are they now inferior and not worth our time? Remember the F64 group, which we will break down at the end of this. Bokeh was undesirable back then. Today, subjects have to be isolated from backgrounds and the background must be creamy. Of course, all I'm suggesting is that there's room for variation. This is art. Just as much as when a painter includes or excludes objects or backgrounds, uses bright or restrained colors, razor sharp or abstract images. There's always a standard for the time period, and time doesn't stand still. So I read that. I was like, man, there's a lot going on there. But I think I agreed with a lot of what was said there. Just to fill people in, Cam, on what the F64 group was all about.
From my understanding, it was a group back in the early 1900s when photography was sort of just in its infancy. I think it had Ansel Adams and it had a few others from San Francisco. And I think they were a group of people that sort of went out with a similar sort of photographic style, like landscapes or something like that, and went out and all sort of started shooting together. And I think from there, I think we might have got like the zone system out of Ansel Adams, but there might have been a few other things that came out of that group. Ansel Adams was the founder of the group. So I'm assuming I would say it was a bunch of nerdy guys taking photos, maybe a couple of women as well. I'm not too sure. And they went out and probably created their own rules and, talked about compositions and things like that. So, given
it was called the F64 group, I'm going to imagine that they were talking about front to back sharpness in landscapes in particular.
Most likely, yeah.
Can you even, is F64 even a thing?
On some of the large format lenses, I believe it is.
Oh, there you
go. So it was actually created by Ansel Adams and William Van Dyke, and an apprentice of Edward Weston decided to organize their fellow photographers for the purpose of promoting a common aesthetic principle. So in the 1930s, they established a small photography gallery in Oakland. Blah, 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 blah.
That's interesting in itself. They wanted to create a common aesthetic principle. It's almost counterproductive. They actually wanted to pigeonhole photography into to look a certain way.
Well, this is the thing as well.
That's kind of interesting, isn't it?
Well, it is in a way. And what that person said that you've read out there as well, the science tells us that we don't all see different color intensity, but there is science to photography. Like there is a science to it. How the light works, how the film used to capture the light, how all the chemicals work together. So there certainly is a consistent process through photography. You take the shot, the light does something, it reacts to something that's light sensitive, it then produces an image at the end, either on a sensor or on a screen or on a print or whatever. So there is consistency in the process of taking a photograph in a science form. But when it comes to art and what's too much or too little of each thing, again, I think, that is art. If you want your photos to be dreamy and creamy in the background or not, that's the artist's choice. If you want to have your horizons in the middle of every shot as opposed to someone who doesn't, that's your choice. So yeah, it's a very interesting topic of conversation, that's for sure. Especially, like I said, this day and age where people just go stupid on critiquing and pixel peeping.
And I get the feeling, I get the feeling this guy's jack of all that. I get the feeling that this guy's saying, you go out and you create what you want to create, and don't just do it, and don't let anybody tell you that that's not a good photo. If you think it's a good photo, it's a good photo. Which is, I don't know. It's interesting to me, and part of the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I'm actually judging for the Colac Camera Club this week. I'm going to be there on Monday night. Yeah, there's going to be some sad faces in the. No,
Well, before you
I'm
go,
joking, of course.
before you go into that, when you're saying that people, like, this person's sort of saying, just go out and shoot and enjoy and don't let anyone tell you.
Yeah,
That message I give out a lot as well, because so many times I have people on workshops who come up and say, "Oh, I'm part of X camera club." And I don't know. People come and show me, "What do you think of this photo?" Oh, that's
yeah,
a lovely photo. Well, the person, the judge, didn't like it. They said this and didn't do this.
yeah, yeah,
So I don't want to shoot like that anymore. I want to try and shoot, but I want to shoot their way. I'm like, but that's one
yeah.
person's opinion. Um, Really, photography should be an extension of you as a person, whether or not it's emotional or whatever it is. You follow what you love and you shoot what you enjoy. And so you're right. Like, people just need to turn off the external bullshit and just focus on what they enjoy. And if that's taking photos, then who cares if someone likes them and doesn't like them? That doesn't make any difference to anything.
Yeah, but I think not to get too philosophical about it, but I think there has to be a baseline, right? Where an image looks good for certain reasons. We talked about our rules last week, and
Yeah.
the in inverted commas rules of photography that
Yeah.
people adhere to create pleasing, aesthetically pleasing imagery, which is what it's all
But why do
about.
we? But why do we care?
And that's right. And that's the question I'm raising is why do we care? What difference should it make? And I think a lot of it comes back nowadays, and we do mention this a lot, is this social media, and people put their images out there.
Yep.
If you're going to put your images out there, they're going to be critiqued, whether you like it or not. Your images are judged every time someone looks at them, right? Every
Yep.
single time someone looks at an
Yep.
image. So what you're trying to do, I guess, is it's on one hand, it's like, yeah, go out and do your own thing, and you're in charge of what you think is a good image. But on the other hand, I think for me, being a commercially driven photographer, is I've got to, I can't put dog shit on a canvas and try and sell it, right? It's got to be.
What are you
It's got to
talking
be.
about? I've been to your shop.
That's exactly right. But you know what I'm saying? Like I've got to. I do have to appease the masses, and to do that, I have to follow certain rules.
Yeah.
That create half decent photos, because
But
I can make a living out of this thing.
But I think it goes to a different level as well. Like, you're taking photos, if you pull the layers off, you're taking photos to appeal to people that want to buy them. So that's one part of your photography
Definitely
journey.
one part of it, yes.
But this is probably, maybe we might differ, we might be similar, but do you care if someone doesn't like your photo?
No.
Like, if you're not trying to sell it, if you have no interest in selling that photo and you put up one of your cracking shots that you do, like, is there any part of you that goes, geez, I hope people like this?
No. What I'm getting at is I need to keep in the back of my. Okay, so the other night when I went over to Lonnie and shot all these, like my background photo, I probably got, I want to say 20, 30, what I would call keepers, photos that I'm happy to, put in the gallery or show or whatever, that sort of stuff. I never shot any one of them with that in the back of my mind. The way I shoot is what pleases me, what makes a good photo, not what makes a sellable image.
But that's what I'm saying. I think that's exactly how it should be. But I think where people go wrong, like you and I are a bit more experienced maybe than some other people that shoot or people starting out. I'm the same as you. I like the photo behind me. I took that photo. I go, geez, I really like that photo. I think it's a lovely shot. If other people like it, great. If it sells a workshop, awesome. If people want to buy a print of it, great. But really, I don't care because I like it and it's my experience and I was there. What I think is going on these days is that people are coming into this game of photography and they won't put up their photos because they don't think people will like them, or they won't take that shot because that's not what everyone else is shooting. I think we've lost a bit of our individuality as being photographers because we're trying to appease the masses when really what we should only be doing is worrying about ourselves and expressing our feelings and thoughts and whatever through our photography and not giving a shit about what people think about them. And a lot of people come back and say, oh, that's easy for you to say because, you do X, Y, and Z. I want people to, I want to be recognized in my local camera club, or I want to sell stuff. But my advice to people would be, if you turn off that external noise, your photography will get better because you won't be so distracted by the noise that people are telling you. Because someone will like my shot, someone will say it's shit, or someone will like your shot and someone will say it's no good.
Yeah.
So you're going to go down a really dark rabbit hole of trying to appease everyone.
Yeah.
If that's what you're wanting to do.
Yeah. And that's where, this guy, sorry, I'm assuming it's a guy. I shouldn't do that.
Mr. or Mrs. Smith.
Yeah. Said, what about photos from the past decades? Are they now inferior and not worth our time? And they have a point. And insofar as, if you look back at photos from even 20 years ago, it almost feels like we ran out of ideas for a while there. I think, I don't know whether that's changing now, and now whether there's more different streams of photography that are becoming more accepted now, particularly abstract photography. I remember, like, back in the day, I used to try a bit of that stuff, and I'd put a 1 second exposure on and zoom in at the same time. Wow.
Wow.
And it would look awful.
Intentional camera move.
And it looked friggin' awful. Like,
yeah.
But I was trying stuff, and I guess you've got to sort of see what does and doesn't work. And again, what pleases you and what doesn't,
I think
will suit your style.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the style's the word, I think, because I think people don't look to try and create a style.
Yeah.
Which I think is very important as an artist. Doesn't matter what art you're in, whether or not you're a musician or you're a painter or you're a sculptor or whatever, people have a style. Like, you can turn on music from AC/DC and you'll know off the first couple of notes, that's them because that's their style.
Yeah.
Or, Ken Duncan's photos, you put them up, you go, that's a Ken Duncan sort of feel.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that people don't try and strive for, is to create their own style, because they're so busy trying to appease all these other styles that are people putting up there. You get on Instagram, you're like, oh, that abstracty aerial stuff, that's cool. I better go do that because that's what people like and might buy. Then they go, oh, hang on, there's wide vistas with huge landscapes. That's really popular at the moment. I'll go and try that. And they're editing things differently, and they're shooting things differently, and it just becomes a jumble mess. Like, you don't know what the person's trying to capture or what style they're trying to portray. Where I think the people that do grab a style might be a bit more successful with what they do, because people recognize them and they like the style that they do. And, like, it goes all over the arts.
Yeah, definitely.
It's an interesting one, but
it was just as I say, the way this person phrased all of this, it sort of struck a chord with me insofar as, it never ceases to amaze me. Like, today, a lady came into the shop, and she had these two absolutely stunning seascape photos that were taken in Ocean Grove. In fact, they were taken at the end of the beach just before you cross the river to Barwon Heads, Cam, where we were for our workshop back in January, February, whenever it was. And she got the grasses, and she got a bit of the Barwon Heads bluff in the background. And I said to her, this is an absolutely gorgeous photo. And she was almost embarrassed. Like, she was almost shocked. Like, she's like, really? She wasn't even going to get it printed. And I was flicking through it because she was looking for another photo. And I said, wait, stop. What's this? And taken on her bloody iPhone. But she nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. Yeah. And then she started showing me some other photos. And I'm like, where have you been all my life? These photos are incredible. Like, you need to, and I wasn't just trying to get a sale out of it. Do what you want with your photos.
Yeah.
But to me, that kind of person, she was genuinely chuffed that I highlighted that her photos were so good. But she came across as the kind of person that's felt the pressures of, modern day social media and things like that. Oh, my photography's no good. Oh, I'm not like, rubbish. Your stuff's awesome. But every time I said this is such a good photo, she go, that.
Yeah. But the reason why it's not a good photo is because it doesn't have 1,000 likes online.
Exactly. I mean,
that's what we somehow that's where we've become. That's the currency of photography. If you're good, you've got a whole heap of followers and you've got heaps of likes on things. If you're no good, it's the same with, I mentioned her earlier in the episode, Cheryl. Like, her macro work is phenomenal. Like, I would put it up there as some of the best macro work I've seen in Australia for a very long time.
Completely agree.
And you go to her and you say, "Oh, these shots are amazing." She's like, "Oh no, the other guy from wherever, he does really good macros."
Yeah, this is the thing, right? People do the comparison. It's like, Stop it.
No, he doesn't. Yep. And the same thing, like we took shots here. I had a customer say to me when I showed them the next day, they go, "Oh, wow, mine won't look like that." I'm like, it'll look exactly like that. We were there at the exact same time.
Yeah.
It'll look like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, like we compare, like you said, we compare against other people. We undervalue what we think is good because it doesn't get many likes online or whatever. There's some incredible photographers out there that have social presence, have absolutely no followers, no likes, no whatever. It doesn't make their photography any worse.
Yeah.
It just means that they don't play the social media game.
Now, I'm going to completely butcher this guy's name, but I know a photographer with the Ballerine Camera Club who's local, like here. His name's Jim Danudian. I hope I said that right. He may or may not listen. I go to the Ballerine Camera Club regularly. I see their comps and stuff. He takes out their comp every second month. Right. His photography is absolutely divine. He has zero social media presence whatsoever. He's not a professional. He's a hobbyist. He's an amateur. And any one of his photos would rival any photographer in the world. He does a lot of bird life in particular. That's his sort of style, his thing. And my goodness, he just nails it. He nails composition, sharpness, all that sort of stuff every bloody time. And the most humble person ever. And I say to him, what are you doing, Jim? Like, you got to get yourself out there, man. He just won't do it.
But you just hit the nail on the head. So the three examples we've given about really great photography we love are by people who couldn't give two hoots about being on social media or popular. And you know what they've done? They've created their style real quick because they've had minimal influence from social media and other people. They've just stuck to their guns and go, I like this. This is what I like doing. Yeah. This is the bugs I like. This is the seascapes I like. This is the bird like I like. And that's how I like to shoot it. They're ticking all the boxes of doing it correctly, as in, scientifically as a photograph and all those kind of things. And they've got their style. And this is what's missing out of landscape photography. It does my head in. There's someone said to me once, there's a guy who used to be here in Tassie who takes photos, and his style was a lot of shooting open apertures through grasses of mountains, or he blurs that foreground out and just focuses on the background. Very simple sort of technique, but very effective. And this person's like, oh, have you seen this guy's work? It's incredible. He's getting like so many likes online and he's getting shared everywhere. I'm like, his shots are nice, but they're no different to anyone else doing the same thing. It's nothing new. The only reason why you might be liking it is because it's getting popular online and getting shared around a lot. But I said, but what he's done, he's got his style. He's nailed his style down. You can look at his shot and go, oh, yeah, it's probably one of his shots. So big advice to anyone out there is maybe just put the blinkers on a little bit more and just, don't listen to too much of that external noise. Take it on board, especially if you're getting judged and stuff like that. It takes it on board. But if you think you're doing well and you're enjoying what you're doing, it's like anything. If you love it and you enjoy doing it, you're most likely going to be good at it.
Yeah, and I think sometimes, particularly with camera clubs, and you've been to a few and probably spoken at them and perhaps even judged images at them.
Yeah.
I'm not overly sure how productive those competitions are. In fact, I quite often see it going the other way, where people get downright downhearted because the judge said something nasty about their photo or something that they took on board as being negative. When I judge these things, I try really hard for criticism to be constructive. And I'm almost apologetic when I get up in front of people and tell them exactly what I think of their photo, particularly if it doesn't resonate with me. But that's the first thing I say. This image does not resonate with me. That means naught. It means it's so subjective. It's my opinion. I'm just looking at it going, okay, this doesn't sit with me because this isn't right or that's not right. You could have done this, you could have done that. And I think that's where the comps are good. I don't know that putting a score on an image is that productive for anyone. Like literally judging it, like literally having a winner and literally saying you didn't make the cut. And, I don't know that I like the fact that we can offer advice on photos and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I give this photo 11 out of 20. It's
well, this is one of the things, and I don't care how this goes down with anyone else that listens about this, but I was in the AIPP for many years.
Yeah.
And I stopped entering the competitions with the AIPP, both state, Tasmania, Victoria. and nationals, because it just turned into an absolute wank fest of bullshit, stupid voting things, stupid scores. People knew it was a boys and girls club. People knew whose photos they were, and if they had a big name, then they got good scores. There was all these crappy themes, like it used to be, you could almost pick it, like the lead up to the state awards. There's almost like they had this meeting of judges that said, right, this year we're going to do minimalistic snow shots. So get all those shots together. That's what's going to win. And you pick it like a dirty nose. And then aerial came along, and everyone was winning aerials, and then all these ridiculously huge composite landscapes started winning. And I didn't get anything that was productive out of those judges.
Yeah.
They looked at the photo for 3 seconds and went, no good, 80, no good, 40, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And it just destroys the soul of people that are trying so hard to try and get photos recognized, when you've got people that just look at these photos and just wank on about them. And it's not productive.
You can argue there's a reason the AIPPs don't exist anymore. There was probably that was one of the reasons, I'm sure of it. So yeah.
Anyway, like I said, I think, going back to the whole crux of this, I think if people just focus on their style, enjoy what they do, like I said, take things on board, absolutely take advice on board and take feedback on board, but don't swap and change to try and follow trends, because it doesn't work. You'll end up getting really confused and really disappointed really quick. So
I agree. And just take a telephoto lens and a wide angle.
Yeah, that's it. And just
do that, and you'll be fine. All right.
Just enjoy it.
Enjoy it.
So,
I agree.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to comment about what we're talking about here on the Down South Photo Show, by all means, we do like your feedback. You can leave a comment under the YouTube channel, under the YouTube video. And thanks to the 620 people that have now subscribed to our YouTube channel, the community continues to grow.
621.
600 as we speak, Cameron. The channel continues to grow. For those of you new here, if you'd like to hit the subscribe button, we would muchly appreciate it. It does help us grow the channel by subscribing, and we really enjoy your feedback. So hit us up here, go to our Facebook page or dsps.com.au and check out the website as well. We have got time for a Dear Cam, so we'll do that in a sec, but let's just mix things up a little bit. Beer donations this week, Cameron.
Oh, well, the last 2 weeks, actually, we've been
true.
People are trying to get us drunk, I reckon. Although you keep drinking water on there. What's going on?
I know. I'm on the wagon this week.
On the wagon. So we've had beer donations this week from Mel H.
Hello, Mel.
And then we had another one from Mel H.
Hello again.
Mel. I think he got the shits because he didn't get mentioned on the 1 second episode. So
he did actually. I think I did actually mention.
we better get another shout out to him. Neil F, Brett W, Andrew T have all donated to our wonderful beer donation box. So thank you for that. It's keeping us going. Yeah, I'm actually drinking a scotch tonight, so I'm not on the beer, but
right.
So be it.
Thank you for that. So head over to dsps.com.au. You can buy us a beer. Again, it helps with keeping the channel going and that sort of stuff. Head over to the website and do that for us. Quick Dear Cam. Dear Cam is a segment that has been running since episode 1 of the Down South Photo Show. It's where you get to fire in a question and ask our learned friend over in Tasmania there a question. And this comes from Mel.
Oh, who's this Mel guy?
I don't know. Jeez, it's not the same. Surely not the same Mel. This was a different Mel. Hi, gents.
We'll say it's a different one. Yeah, I'll do.
Hi, gents. Smiley face. A question about white balance. Do you blokes set this in camera to suit the lighting, or do you just go with auto and only worry about it in post processing? Best regards, Mel. Smiley face.
Thanks, Mel. Smiley face. That's a funny last name. I shoot everything in auto white balance, and then I fix it up afterwards. I must admit, I have a bit of a giggle about this sometimes with customers. Is you go up. I like to set people up and not set them up to fail, but set them up for their shots and all that kind of stuff. But every now and then I like to fire off. Okay, what aperture are we shooting on and why? And you'll usually get a few. I'll get back to you on that one. Yep. Or you'll get people just go, oh, I'm on this for this reason. White balance is the same. I look at people's camera and like, geez, it looks really cool color there. Oh yeah, I've put it on cloudy white balance today, or I've put it on, whatever, overcast, or I've put it on sunny. Or why have you done that? Oh, just because I want to make sure the color temperature is right in the shot. And I'm like, but you can adjust it. That's one of the things that you can really easily adjust afterwards. But some people like to shoot in the color temperature they want.
Yep.
Others do auto. I'm in the auto camp. What about you?
A bit of both. Now,
On the fence.
The reason I do that is because, so I shoot RAW plus JPEG, like all good photographers should shoot RAW plus JPEG. And I use quite often the JPEG as a reference shot for color. So sometimes when I'm shooting, the color can get a bit crazy. Like if you're shooting directly into the sunset, like I was at the Summer Apostles a month ago. How else? Like if you've got an overcast day, or if you happen to be doing not landscape photography, and like the one time when I was shooting a wedding once, and I was told when I got to the church that there's no flash photography in this church. Would have been nice to know that before I actually stood foot in the joint. But let me tell you, there's no white balance setting for stained glass. So, doing things like, checking my white balance and making the adjustments before I shoot, and just checking them in like before I do a shoot, and checking a JPEG file on my screen just to make sure that the color does look kind of like what I'm looking at with my naked eye. I do, and my white balance dial probably right now, if I check both my cameras over here, are probably both set to auto. But if I find myself with a bit of downtime, like, I might be waiting for a wave to come in, or I might be waiting for a sunset or that sort of stuff. I'll start having a look. Oh, what white balance? And then I'll play around with it. And as I say, 9 times out of 10, though, it's just so that I've got that reference shot so I can see that's going to be pretty color accurate to the scene when I'm going to edit my version of it, when I'm editing the raw file. So, and again, 9 times out of 10, it's accurate anyway, but it's nice to have that little safety net if I'm unsure.
Yeah, I agree with especially if you're doing like studio work or stuff like that.
Oh,
or,
definitely.
Flash work. Absolutely. So, good question, Mel Smiley Face. That was a good one.
Thanks, Mel Smiley Face. Okay, so quick horror story from Cameron, who
very quick horror story. I'm going to give a shout out to anyone that's come on my Tarkine photography workshop ever. Can you please stop leaving your equipment behind? So I've run a lot of these workshops. So far, we're up to 2 tripods, a backpack, a camera strap, a filter case, and there was something else that went missing on another trip. Do the idiot check. Turn around before you walk off from your location and just double check you haven't left something behind. So on this trip, we had the very last shoot we did, the absolute last thing we did on this trip. We had one customer leave a tripod on a park bench. So hopefully it's still going to get there and pick it up. 5-star Dan lost his backpack with his coat and gloves in the back. That was pretty good. I don't know how that happened. And then I've had customers on the previous ones where we had another tripod lost in a forest. We lost a strap in a big field of dried up kelp, like the black camera straps that look like little dried up kelps. Yeah, good place to lose one. So if you go into places, just turn around and just make sure you don't leave stuff behind. Double check everything. Don't leave a tripod head. Don't leave a filter case. For Christ's sake, don't leave a camera there, because odds on it'll not be there when you go back.
Look, and I think it's fair to say that we've all done it. So, but
nope, never.
You've never lost anything.
I've never lost anything.
Haven't you?
I've never broken a camera. Oh, hang on. Maybe I have. What have I
lost anything, Cameron?
Hang on. What now you got me thinking?
Do I need to go back to episode 23 and check the tape, or
23? Oh, yes, I did. Sorry, I left the lens. I did. Well, you know what? I didn't lose it. It was found.
No, you didn't. That's right. But you did lose it for a little while.
I left it there for someone else to pick up. You're right.
By the way, I don't know if it's episode 23. That was a stab in the dark, but it's going to be around then.
No, you got me thinking. No, I did. I'd left it. So apart from that, I don't regularly leave things behind.
That's right.
But I always do my idiot check. Or maybe that's what made me start doing is that idiot act of losing that lens. Well played, Brendan. I'm going to check 23 now.
I got you off the long run, didn't I? But
you did. Good job.
Yeah. But I'm the same though. Like I've lost heaps of crap. Like So
Yeah.
none of my lenses have got caps on ever.
Yeah.
I can never find. I know they're there. They're going to be rattling around in my camera bag somewhere. But yeah, the amount of times I've lost gear as well. I did lose a tripod once. A real quick story. I was going on a family trip to New Zealand, and I bought the Manfrotto Be Free tripod.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
I
And I
got
bought
those,
that. And I thought, oh, beauty, that'll be perfect for New Zealand. So, packed it all in, excellent. Left it in the car in the long-term car park for 2 weeks.
Oh, you know what? I've lost 2 lenses.
Well, there we go. See,
but I'm blaming Donald Trump for this one.
Okie doke.
I had a Olympus 75mm 1.8 lens.
Ooh, only a
and
lovely
when we went
lens.
to America, whatever, 7 or 8 years ago, and we had the hire car, and we drove into the Trump hotel where we were staying, and I'm pretty sure the valet took it out of the cup holder in my car because within 5 seconds of us parking the car, I'm like, oh crap, that lens is downstairs. I'll go get it. Disappeared. So, tell you what, I'll give you a funny story. We've got a couple of minutes left, right? So that was. Am I going to incriminate myself? No, probably not. So I'll go ahead. So I rang my insurance company when you're overseas. You know, you don't want to be doing that. And they said, oh, look, go get a police report. You're covered for X amount of dollars. You'll be able to replace it. I maybe even be able to get the money to your way there and you can go replace the lens because I really wanted that lens to use. So I rang up the Las Vegas Police Department and I don't know much about the
story
Las
already.
Vegas.
This is great.
I don't know much about the Las Vegas Police Department, but they're dodgy. So I rang up the lady officer answered, and I said, oh, look, I'm traveling from Australia. I'm pretty sure my lens has been stolen or it was in the car. I don't know if I took it out, but I'm pretty sure it's been stolen. And she's like, okay, so just explain what it was. I said, oh, it's a lens that clamps onto a camera lens. She goes, okay. She kept calling me honey. Okay, honey. Okay, honey. And she then says, so was it attached to a camera? I went, oh, no, I've got all the camera with me. It was just that lens. And she's like, no, it would have to be attached to a camera, wouldn't it? And I'm like, no, they can come off. They're interchangeable. They can go there. And she's like, honey, they have to be attached to a camera. And I'm like, okay, it was attached to my camera. Excellent. And what else was in the bag that was stolen? And I went, no, it was just a camera bag, nothing there. And I thought she was trying to set me up. And she goes, look, just tell me the gear that you have in your bag. And what I can do is do a police report for you about that lens. And then she said, we can email it through to you straight away. So I said, all right, my camera bag has this body and 3 other lenses, whatever it was. So I get this police report back in the email about 5 minutes later. A police report saying that the entire bag has been stolen with all the camera gear in it. And this has been confirmed by the Las Vegas Police Department.
Wow.
So pretty much she just she did an insurance fraud. That's what that lady did.
Well, that's right. She didn't
because I wouldn't have acted on.
She was basically saying, "This is how we roll with this. Just
say yes. Just nod and agree."
Because she looked through her pre-written reports. She had little tabs there for all of them. Camera bag,
yes.
Email address, go, done,
bang. Yeah. So I won't. The rest of the story we don't need to go through whether or not I claimed all that lens missing or the whole bag missing. I can't remember, to be quite honest. But
no, did you put it all on black?
Needless to say, we went shopping a few more times while we were in Las Vegas.
You were in Vegas, that's right. You put it all on black. Perfect.
Yeah. So there you go.
Nice. Cameron, what have you got coming up, mate?
Would you believe I'm off to the Tarkine again next week?
Holy snap and duck shit. Really?
Yeah. So this is all part of the 50% off rebate deal that the Tassie government gave me. So I put on a second tour and
so jealous.
And it's sold out within minutes. So I'm off again with some wonderful customers. And then after that, I've got about a week and a half, 2 weeks off before I come up to Melbourne to do the Flinders Rangers trip.
Yep.
And then we're getting into our territory, the Murray Mallee workshop.
Oh, I can't wait. Bring it on.
And BFOP, which would be good. So,
I think you're going to like the Mallee.
Yeah, I am. I'm excited about it. It's going to be good.
I think you're going to like because it's completely different to where you normally shoot.
Have we got any? Is anyone good coming, or is it just all customers and stuff?
We've got 8 absolute legends coming.
Guaranteed.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Speaking of, I'm up there. You're listening to this on if you're watching it on Friday or watching it next Monday, but I'm going up this weekend to the Mallee.
Nice.
Scout a couple more locations. Going to have Father's Day in Swan Hill.
Nice.
Should message my dad and say, come to Swan Hill and see me. He lives just down the road. So,
Good idea.
yeah, good thinking, Cameron. Happy Father's Day, everyone. All the
Yes.
dads that are listening or
Yes.
watching.
Or-
so I'm going to go up there. I'm
or
actually,
people-
you
Or
go.
people who act as dads.
That's right. We are all inclusive here on the Down South Photo Show. I'm actually going up there to help my lovely mother-in-law. She's got some heavy lifting to do in the garden, so I'm helping her out with that as well. So that'll be good.
Oh
too.
yeah, that'd be good. Cool. That'd be fun. Do we want to plug the Great Ocean Road workshop, or do we just wait till
Why
next
the
week?
hell not?
Why would we plug the May 26th to 30th Great Ocean Road 4 days, 5 nights workshop? I don't know why. I don't think there's any point plugging it because no one's going to come.
No.
So
2024.
why bother? 2024, yeah. May 26th to 30th. Actually, we had a gentleman from that area, from Lawn,
Fantastic.
on our workshop just gone, and he's given me some lovely, lovely, lovely spots to go visit if we get time.
Excellent.
He's got some local secrets. And he's a great photographer as well. So
Okay.
we'll talk about that off air. But
Good.
don't forget Great Ocean Road workshop May next year. Be there or be square.
Absolutely. I think that's it. That's episode 92 of the Down South Photo Show. That is the podcast for this week. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. Good to have you back on deck, Cameron.
Thank you. Lovely to see
you be
you
available,
as well, Brendan.
Will you be available for next week's episode? Possibly.
Good question. Yeah, I might have to tune in from somewhere. I'll make it work.
We will.
The problem with the Tarkine, maybe you get a guest on. Yeah.
Guest host.
Maybe we should get a female guest host.
We'll work on that. I like the sound of it. Right. That's it. That's the show. We will talk to you next week. We'll see you next week for episode 93 of the Down South Photo Show. Thanks for tuning in. See you then.
Catch you later. Bye.
Bye.